Off-Road Ontario racers here at Chloe's today. Chris and I are about to do the preview of the course. If you haven't raced Chloe's before, it's fantastic. It's from what I remember, it's a little bumpy, maybe a little rocky. It's got some great elevation into it, as well as some nice off-camber stuff. Bit a little mud and some really tight single track. So Chris and I are about to dive in here. We got a beautiful day. The only thing I can tell you right now that I know is I'm setting my suspension just a little bit softer, and I'm putting a ton of musk oil on because the deer flies and mosquitoes are horrible today. But anyhow, other than that, looking forward to doing the preview ride, and we'll have something for you in a couple minutes. Here we go. To start, quick chicane at the beginning. Gonna slow it down. Lots of stuff hidden under the leaves here. Lots of rock, lots of roots. You're gonna want to set up your suspension accordingly. And it is high speed, so just be mindful of what's under here. Got your first little jump. Quinn's put down a lot of leaves there, soften the blow. Now we're starting into the single track. Lots of roots underneath as well. Into the creek bed. That's where timing and scoring is going to be. Up the first hill climb. And as you see here, this is indicative of what you're going to get. Lots of rock, lots of down leaves, some good elevation. You may get fixated on by accident. Another thing you're going to definitely want, make sure your hand guards are in position. Lots of tight stuff coming out.
trying to figure out what the trail. Okay, there it is. You might have noticed there's a lot of square edge hits, like square edge rocks. So put this at the end, but you definitely watch your tire pressure, pitch flats. If you're running moose, tubeless, whatever, then you got it. But if you're running stock tubes, you don't want to switch to moose or tubeless, maybe consider some heavy duty tubes for this one. Just a thought. And again, set your suspension accordingly. You're going to want to soften it up for all these rocks, roots, techie sections. It's nice, little rocky uphill. Again, square edge hits all around there. Okay, so that's all between 10 and 11. Oh yeah, as you saw there is some slick mud under these leaves. That's found in a couple of corners. Just be mindful. Up there was all roots buried underneath that ran perpendicular, so keep an eye on that. That's another thing you'll find in a few corners here. Also going to want to think of a good tire that will help you with rock and roots. So maybe a softer, more gummier compound would be beneficial. Just another thought if you're looking up putting some heavy duty tubes in or switching over to moose and tubeless. If you're in the market for a tire for this race, may want gummier. So I'm pretty sure after a few laps, some of those rocks are going to have 2-stroke gas and oil in them. Some mud, some water. Gonna get slick. Stranded or whatnot, you know where to tell people where to go. Same with injured riders, all that good stuff. This year, cleaning down after our winter. Done a really nice job opening these back up. Example, big trees Quinn had to take out on the weekend. More stuff Quinn's had to take out. More. Be sure to thank Quinn when you see him, everyone. not a lot of passing. Slower riders, you'll have to be mindful. Faster riders coming up, make sure you give them the clearance to go by when they can. If you can, give them the race line, not the typical line to pass the barn. And yeah, it'll be tight. Example there. More logs cut. Opens up now. This is the hydro lines. You're gonna want to get speed here, but be mindful. It's very rocky. Some unpredictable terrain underneath, just with the rocks. So watch your speed along here. Right back into some single track. So remember, pop out on the hydros, watch your speed for the rocks, and then you're going to go right back into some tight single tracks. Sneak stuff, aren't you? More logs you cut. Check mark 4. For a cut in here. If I haven't said it before, it's rocky. It's rooty. You're a sitter. You'll be learning to stand on this one. Just trust me, I'm a sitter and I'm standing. Woo. Keep an eye on the markers. There's some really sharp hairpins in here. Okay, back into the hydros. This will be along the camping area where the RVs are parked. We're just coming off the hydro, and when you go into here, it's called the ice cream trail. Into the ice cream run. Opens up at the ice cream run, so remember that. After the RVs turn on to ice cream, you will have some passing opportunities. Or just a water break. But again, it's real rocky under here, so just be careful when passing. Lots of routes on that downhill, if you can remember it. After that hill, there's that tight right. I sort of missed it. Okay, these are called the gates. This is how tight they are. Watch them. And there's roots underneath. Oh, there, I just caught it. That are going to catch you, throw you into them a bit. This is the last one. There's 3 in a row. Heading down towards the lake. This is a beautiful off-camber section. I believe it has a couple techie climbs in it. Climb there. Mile marker 7. stumpy. All the good ones. There we go. This one comes up quick. I don't know if you saw that, there's an inside rut there at that hard right corner. You just gotta watch. The mile marker has a nice little climb. Opens up a little bit here, but again, you know what's under there? Rocks and roots. Lots of stuff under the leaves here, that's the reason I'm going to go a little slower. everything getting kicked out here. However, my lap 2 of Saturday morning, start scrubbing in again. Up there to give a better indication of where that corner is. Quinn let us in almost 2 weeks early, so he still has some marking to do. We're just giving a good look at what the trails look like. Between 9 and 10. coming to the finish line. Right here, where the finish line will be. That's a full lap at Chloe's. Okay, for the minis, you will come along the shed here.
So we went here, they're gonna go
Yep.
there.
The adult class went to the right when you pass the shed. Minis are gonna go to the left. So Chris and I are gonna take you up through the mini course. And possibly Milo. All right, you ready, Chris? You want Milo to lead? See you, Milo. This will be for the minis. Watch out. Lots of roots. Here's the mini course still.
How was that? Smooth as you remember?
It was a little rough. So this is what we learned. We got about 13 to 14K is the loop for the morning classes for both Saturday and Sunday. It's pretty rocky, rooty. It's got some really tight sections into it, some nice open, a little more flow sections. But overall, it's a great course. It's a rough course. There's some challenging spots in there, and equipment-wise, things to be mindful of. A lot of square edge hit rocks out there, so think about that with your tires. If you're running stock tubes, maybe not. Maybe look for a heavier tube, go tubeless, or do a moose. That type of thing, because there is a lot of these rocks and ledges out here. And your suspension, you're going to want to just be mindful of that for your suspension, how rough the terrain is. But with the elevation and everything, it's a fun run, right? Like, it's got such a variety of terrain. It's very different than some of the other races. And it's all held here on this beautiful property. So it's a great venue, great race. I can't wait for race day. So looking forward to everybody coming out, being prepared. And the number one thing I'm going to tell you to bring, bug spray. The deer flies here are the size of pterodactyls, so just be mindful of that. Anyhow, can't wait to see everybody at the race. And Chris, now that we're both finished, what'd you think of that?
Man, we did 2 laps. So just to explain to everybody how we do it. One, we usually sight it. We're looking at things like making sure there's no cross lines or anything that's too difficult for the classes. That's a nice slow-paced lap. That's supposed to be the enjoyable one. And the second lap, that's the one you see. That's the one we're riding at a reasonable trail pace to give you an idea what the trail looks like. The first one killed me, and then the second one killed me. So I always remember this as one of the hardest courses on the thing. And what I found today is there's some really nice sections in there in between them. So there's some baby-headed rock gardens for sure, and it's going to be a challenge for suspension. But then there's some beautiful flowy single track in between it. And as Quinn was explaining it, it's because it sort of switches back over the same terrain a lot throughout the course. He really does an excellent job of laying out the property. So that's the main reason you get this varied terrain, because you're always coming back through that rocky patch again. But those rocks are brutal, man. I felt like I had a flat tire. They're loose. They're kicking the tire around. So on my second lap, I tried going down a few clickers, but then I found the bike didn't work as well in some of the faster speed sections when you're hitting the hollows. So setting up your suspension, always a challenge. It's going to be here for sure. It was a beautiful day today. The weather was awesome. The trail was reasonably dry despite some rain. So this place does take the rain well. But if it rains the day before, as we had a few years ago, it gets super slippery out there. So weather's going to be a big factor too. So tire selection, suspension, the way you dial it in. And really, I think it's going to just be a race of attrition. I don't think anybody's going to win or lose this one in a lap. Nobody's going to be setting sprint laps on this one. Maybe some of the really fast afternoon guys are going to be able to rip, but for the most of us, especially the morning class guys, it's just going to be getting through it consistently lap after lap because it's a tough course. But privileged to ride it, and I love that Quinn puts this on for the OO racers every year. So, thank you.
Right, so we're here with the Chloe's Kingdom promoter, Quinn Alphonso. Now, Quinn, I've known you for a long time. You probably have to be one of the guys that has been racing this series the longest, because I met you in 2002 and you were a veteran of this sport then. So how long have you been racing?
Started in the sport early 80s, say about 1984, 85.
And you're still in it, giving back. You're promoting a race now. This is our 5th year here at Chloe's?
Yes.
Awesome. And is there anything you want to say to the racers about the doubleheader coming up next week?
I've got it set up so that it's for Saturday, you'll be following the green arrows. You'll be doing about 10 to 13 kilometers. And then on Sunday, you'll be riding the red arrows. You'll do maybe about 15 kilometers for the morning class adults. And the afternoon adults on the Saturday, you'll be running the 20 kilometers.
Awesome. And it's all super smooth, right? There's
Not a bump anywhere on site. It's just a beautiful sand plush trail.
Awesome, buddy. Well, I wanted to put you on so everybody gets to see your face. This is the gentleman that has put in almost single-handedly all the hard work to make this doubleheader happen. I know the racers appreciate it. On behalf of all of them, I want to thank you for your time and what you do for the series. So thank you very much.
We'll
see you next
and
week.
This year also we'll have some fries and poutines and stuff
Awesome.
available to purchase.
Beauty, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, Chris.
Cheers.
Take care.